Good morning, K5 James. What's going on, man? How you feeling?
Oh, man. To be honest, not so hot, but...
What do you mean, man? I thought Saturdays were for the sons.
Oh, yeah. Well, Friday night was for the ladies, I guess.
I was thinking, man, like, this is a big year coming up, dude. What do you think of this idea? I could see it. The Sons of Montezuma frat house. Bro, let's start our own fraternity. It could be like old school. It could be like old school on campus. Like, that'd be amazing, man.
Damn. I'd get in trouble, dude.
Toss to him. Can he get the edge? Gonna try it. He's got it. Record time. Donnell Pumphrey smashes the record.
On the return, it's Rashaad Penny. And Penny finds the seam. Penny to the outside. Penny will go the distance.
First and goal. Fake to Penny. Open man. Wells. He leads. He gets the ball. And they say touchdown San Diego State.
Dingwell back to pass. He lofts it up there to the corner. Touchdown Adam Roberts. Scared money don't make no money. Rocky Long and the Aztecs will walk away with a big win in OT.
This is the Sons of Montezuma Podcast. It's a super duper Sunday in the neighborhood, and that's because of one guest. This surprise episode is all due to a two-time Mountain West champion for San Diego State football and starting offensive lineman for the San Francisco 49ers, number 60, Daniel Brunskill joins the show.
Maybe in Mission Valley, when all the development comes through, we could have like the Sons of Montezuma penthouse or something.
Yeah, man. I was talking to somebody about that. Like, when they start building all that housing, I was like, man, I might buy one of those condos, dude, and just live right there. That'd be sweet.
I got somebody at the door, man. Let's go.
Oh, shit. Let's see who's there. Man, who's that girl, dude?
Look who's at the door. Look who's at the door, man. Look who's at the door.
Oh, man.
What up, y'all?
Look at this guy.
Standing tall at 6'5", weighing in at an even, well, it's the offseason. I don't know if that's going to be even for much longer. I don't know, man. An even 300 pounds, the pride of Valley Center High, and an Aztec for life. The Swiss Army knife, they call him. Offensive lineman for your San Francisco 49ers, number 60, Daniel Brunskill.
Daniel Brunskill.
Welcome to the Sons of Montezuma Podcast, Dan.
Thank you guys for having me.
So listen, I got to ask a very important question right off the bat because all Aztecs Nation wants to know. How many Eggo waffles you got to eat every single morning now to maintain that 300-pound mark on the offensive line, man?
Oh, shoot, man. If I have to maintain it right now, shoot, I'm going to need at least the whole box, maybe another box from Costco.
Yeah. Much different from those San Diego State days, huh?
Oh, yeah, way different. Yeah, no, Aztecs, I mean, being the tight end and then having to gain a little bit, I got away with being light. Even now, like compared to offensive linemen in the league, I'm way lighter than most guys out there. That's for sure. Remember when Nick Hardwick was always light for the Chargers?
Oh yeah. What's your like normal walk around weight, man? When you're not trying to put on weight, like your off season normal walk around weight.
I mean, I don't know a good weight because like in the off season, I can dip sometimes. Like if I like get sick at all, or if I'm down, like I'll drop down to like 275 like that.
Oh, man.
But probably like 280 something in the off season, you know, if I'm just eating all right, keeping up with my meals, because I try not to drop too low because I don't want to fluctuate too much, but probably like 280.
Man.
Yeah.
Whew. Yeah. As somebody who puts on weight, unfortunately, and drops it when I try to, I know how crazy that can be, man. Just
yeah. It goes up and down like crazy. If I'm not like working out consistent, eating my protein every day, and then having like 3 good meals with plenty of snacks in between, I can drop a lot quick.
Man.
Well, I got to ask you, man, because I remember the first time I met you, Dan, and it was actually at an Aztecs spring event. It was like an open house thing that they had on campus. The basketball jam center had just opened up, so they kind of opened everybody to check it out and talk some Aztecs football. And this was 2016. This was the second championship year for you guys. And I remember I was sitting at the table, and it was yourself and DeMonte Casey at the round table. And I knew this was going to be a championship year for the Aztecs as soon as I met you guys, man, because you guys immediately put me up to a little bit of a prank on Coach Rocky. This guy, James, these guys were in my ear, like, because they were asking questions around like every table. Every season ticket holder was sitting with a different senior or group of seniors. These guys were like, okay, you got to ask Coach Rocky, because Donnell Pumphrey was the Heisman candidate, right? The Heisman hopeful at the beginning of the year. And they were like, you got to ask Coach Rocky. We think we got 2 Heisman candidates on the team if he would just let DeMonte play both sides, offense and defense. Man, I was so scared asking Coach Rocky that question in front of everybody.
Man.
Dude, I doubt he would have done that. He would have kept Monte on defense no matter what, not let him get any offensive.
But I knew you were a cool dude. From that moment, you guys put me up to ask that question. And man, we appreciate you coming on the show, man. We really do.
No, happy to be here, man.
So I'm a little surprised, though. I got to be honest, man. I mean, we're recording this is Saturday, the day before the Super Bowl. And we're talking, 13 days removed from the NFC Championship. So, I mean, have you gone through all the steps of grief to get here to this point? Or like, I figured, man, maybe you got something to say, something to share. I mean, I'm assuming you're still full of like piss and vinegar.
No, I have not gone through all the grief yet. I mean, it doesn't go away. It takes like till like the new league year starts, like till free agency starts. And then like they have something else to talk about before it like kind of goes away. But like right now, no, like every day you go on social media, and that's the worst part of things nowadays. Every day you go on social media, you turn on the TV on any sports show or on anything, there's like commercials of everything. And all it is like Rams versus Bengals, like Super Bowl. And you're just sitting there like, damn, we were like 15 minutes really away from like, I mean, that's the hard thing about football is like so hit or miss. Like, I mean, I've been in games like the Super Bowl we played in 2019. I mean, we were like 8-7 minutes away. We could have like, you know, so it's just like, it's that close. And then as soon as it ends, you have to just sit there and like watch all that stuff. And then it's even actually into the next season, because when whoever gets that ring ceremony, you're just like, damn, I was that close.
Damn.
That's what, you know, it hurts.
So before we get into complete 49ers talk, I have to say I've never, ever, ever, ever in my life rooted for the 49ers until these last few years that you're on the squad, man. And I got a ton of family in the Bay Area, you know, shout out to Santa Rosa, all my Ortiz familia up there. And like, they're a big fan base all across the world. So is there like a special message that you want to give to the 49er faithful that may be watching this right now, man?
Nah, just represent 49er faithful. They're the best fans in the league. I don't know how like a fan base thing doesn't have a 49ers page on that all the time. He's like, the 49ers got to be one of the top fan bases. Like every road game we've ever been to, they travel well and we have a bunch of fans. And I've been to plenty of places where it's almost like a home game more than it is an away game because of how many fans we've had. It's crazy.
No doubt. They took over SoFi Stadium when you guys played, man. It was basically like a home game for you guys.
Oh, for sure. They travel like crazy. And then it's just like the history of the 49ers that anywhere like someone moved, like if they didn't have a team yet, they love the 49ers just because of the history of it. So like they got fan bases all over, and it doesn't matter where we go. But yeah, SoFi, they've every Rams away game that I've been to, they flooded those games. Even when we were at the Coliseum, they took over that. And then I've even been on like the East Coast, and we've got a bunch of 49er fans out there. So it's just crazy. They travel all over the place.
Nice, man. Awesome.
That's a dynasty organization right there, man. Top
for sure.
Very impressive. So let's talk a little bit about this season, though, man. I mean, it was, the NFC West has got to be by far the top division in all of NFL football, man. And the cool thing for us Aztecs fans is we get to see, there's a ton of Aztecs in the division. I mean, you got Rashaad Penny in Seattle, and you got it was David Wells in Phoenix right now, I believe, Arizona.
Yeah.
And, with the Rams, obviously I was pulling for you guys, but, to see Kevin O'Connell, Aztec for life as well, in his position advance, okay, we could take some solace with that. But, what is it like when you're facing those teams? You get to butt heads with some of those guys and kind of reminisce?
I mean, I love playing against the guys. It's always awesome to see the guys after the game and see him doing well. And I'm glad that Penny's finally starting to hit his stride, because I've known he's a good back. And I've actually thought like he almost needs to get in a zone scheme offense just because of how good he would be. I mean, he's got that flat speed, and then you just give him that one cut and go thing and not try to dance too much. Chris Carson fit Seattle well, but I feel like Seattle's kind of went to more zone with Penny, with all the backs down, and he's starting to hit his stride, and I'm glad to see it, because he's a good back if you let him get going.
I don't want to get you in trouble, man, but I think he is a free agent. I'm just saying.
I wouldn't get in trouble. I would vouch for him, and I know he's good. I know he's dealt with some injuries, but like, you let that man get going on the zone scheme, and you give him one cut, or like just let him read the hole, and he's got to make one cut, and then let him use that speed and stride he's got. I mean, he can do some damage.
Well, let's get into a little bit of football, though, because that 49er organization is very impressive. I mean, we're all very familiar with John Lynch here in San Diego. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Kyle Shanahan. Everybody knows, if you know football, he's the son of Mike Shanahan, who had an incredible run scheme with the Denver Broncos back in the day, right? So bringing in those kind of variations of that zone run scheme, I mean, can you get into a little bit of like – I mean, you're an integral part there at that position, at that right guard position. I'm watching the games, and I mean, you could be on the road and the crowd's going crazy, and you're very involved with, checking to the center, letting them know, okay, we're good. So let's take us into that huddle, man. What is a Kyle Shanahan play, sound like? Is it like 5 sentences long, or what do you have to remember? What are you looking at when you get that play?
Oh, I mean, definitely the play calls can get pretty long. There's actually been times where, like, the play clock's running down, because he'll, depend on when he gets that play call in, and it's a long one, we can be getting up to the line with not a lot of time to snap that ball. So we got to get moving. And that's one of the things that's huge in our offense is tempo. We got to make sure we're getting up and to the line and back in the huddle quick, so we can get those plays called and make sure we got enough time to take you through like a whole play call. I mean, they can be kind of long. You got you'll have the formation, and then with the formation, there could be like little tags on that formation to tell like one or two guys to line up a little bit different. So it's not always the same as that formation. So you have tags for that. Then you got probably a couple motions or a shift and then a motion. So there's a few things into that. And those can take up a good amount, because we definitely love the motion in our offense.
Yeah.
And so most of that stuff, like as an offensive lineman, you can tune all that out. The motions, every once in a while, there's certain motions that can help you, like with, the defense is going to change. So for certain targeting things, so you sometimes have to hear those. If you do, that's kind of like bonus, just to kind of be on the right page. And then after that, you'll get like a number, which will tell you like the scheme of right and left, which way it's going. And then after that, you'll have like the run call. So it could be like certain names. So like a basic one would be like I right, F bump, 19, force, deep, something. And then, you can go like that. That's a shortened one. And then there's also on top of that, you have a can or like a Oscar or things like that change the play to another play or flips the play depending on that. So, I mean, they can get pretty long. But like all of the stuff that we have to hear are generally the numbers and then the play call itself to know like run pass. And then hearing some of the motions helps us a little bit. And each guy has to tune into different things, but it gets kind of like jumbled a little bit because that's when you can mess up certain plays. Because if you mishear one thing, or if like he says like 20 words and you don't hear like pass and it's a play action, you know, that can really screw you up. So like you got to like, there's a lot of things you got to hear. But for each position, there are certain things you can tune out to where you know exactly. Like receivers, they generally have to hear the numbers and that's it, rather than the play call sometimes. Yeah. Unless they're tagged in it, because then the numbers will be able to tell them if it's like wide zone or inside zone based their blocking off that. And then other than that, they got to hear like routes and stuff. But
incredible.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot into it.
Yeah.
So all of that. And then you have to block a guy like Aaron Donald. I want to hear about that, man. Give me a little bit about that, blocking that monster a couple times a year.
It's tough. He's definitely one of the best to do it in the game, because I've never like been in a scheme where you have to game plan not only in the run game, like which way you run, and then also like in the pass game, like whether or not you're going to double him or not, things like that. Like there's a lot in the game plan to focus on that guy. And every week it's got to change, because you can't just do the same thing. So you can't always just do the same game plan you did before against him, or he'll catch on. So like a lot of stuff goes into like how to make sure that guy isn't a game wrecker. And you can tell like in our division, a lot more of our teams like game plan him more, versus a team out of the division won't game plan them as much. And then you can see kind of like the differences of like, you know, how well he does sometimes. He's like, I remember there was one year we played him after I think Washington played him, and he had like 4 sacks. It was like you could tell they didn't really try to game plan too much to him, but it was just like, geez, like if you don't pay attention to this guy, he's gonna wreck the game. And then there was a year where we had, I think we did a little bit of different game plan, and we tried it against him, and he made like 2 big plays, like a sack fumble, and then another big play, like tackle for loss, that just killed drives. And you just have to be on point with him all the time. And then let alone just technique blocking him. Like you got to make sure like how you block him to keep him from making a play. You got to like kind of take what's the thing that like limits him the most from making a play like that fast. Like that's what you got to do, rather than, you got to just try to do it that way to try to get the play off, versus, you know, just trying to block him straight up every time. Because if you give him a lot of space, he's going to make you miss, or he's going to make problems happen for you. So he's definitely one of the craziest guys to go against.
Man. Yeah, he's a scary individual just looking at him. I couldn't imagine having to line up across from him and, okay, it's my responsibility on this play to keep him away from the running back or the quarterback, whatever. But
yeah, man, he's a beast. He's a great player, and he deserves, like, I think, to go down as one of the best players to ever play ever. Like especially like D-line. I know Lawrence Taylor, he was amazing. He revolutionized the game, but you look at what Aaron Donald's doing at 3 technique, like not many D tackles. And D tackles nowadays are kind of evolving. Like they're getting better and better, like to where D tackles are almost as good as like edge rushers sometimes, just because they're closer to the quarterback. So if they make, if they can get by, those guys can make pressure just as fast as an outside guy. So like the way the D tackle position's going nowadays, there's plenty of guys that are good enough. And it's almost kind of thinking that tackle market is like, whoa there, it's getting a little out of control. Because, there's guys on the inside that are sometimes the best. Because when Aaron Donnell lines up over a tackle, he's just as hard to go against as when he's lined up inside. So
yeah, for sure.
Well, what do you think, man? Are you got any other positions on the line that they're going to give you, or perhaps maybe trade with George Kittle a little bit, get some tight end action again?
That'd be nice to get back out at tight end in the NFL. That'd be pretty cool. Try to get some catches out there. That'd be pretty sweet to do. On the O-line, I mean, the only one I haven't started at was left guard, because we got a guy, this beast, Laken Tomlinson, and he ain't giving up that position now. He's a free agent, and hopefully we get him back, but we'll see what happens with him. Wishing the best for him, but that guy, he's started every game consecutively since I've been here, so he never misses. The only time I got to go in at left guard was he lost his shoe when he played the Rams in 2020 the second time. And so I got to go from center to play like 2 snaps at left guard while he's putting his shoe on. But
don't lose your shoes when you're around Daniel Brunskill, man.
Yeah, that's just trying to get my plays up at every position.
Double knot those suckers.
Yeah.
All right, so let's ask a question. The season's over, so the NFL lifestyle has got to be pretty consuming, right? It's year-round. It's a year-round season these days. So, I mean, I can imagine your off seasons. You're probably got to recharge. So, what are some fun things that you like to do to recharge in the off season, man?
Definitely, like every off season, you need to take like a vacation right off the bat. That's go somewhere, get your mind off football, and then also just let your body rest. That's one of the biggest things. And then, I try to do like little bit of stuff, like I'll get on the elliptical, I'll lift like a little bit of light weights and do like stretching, kind of more mobility, or rather just to kind of keep up my workouts a little bit, but I'm not trying to do anything that's impact to hurt my body at all. So just let it rest, let it get back to healthy. But yeah, you got a vacation right now. So I'm in Florida right now. I'm about to get on a yacht and go out. So I'm gonna go do that and have some fun and just enjoy some time off. But yeah, with how intense the game is, you gotta take time away and do that. And then when I go back home, like I'll go back to North Dakota, and that's where I stay in the off season a little bit. And then that way I'm away from everything. I can get my workouts in, and then get some heavy workouts, and then in the rest of the day, go out and fish or do something. So that way I'm relaxed and mind off of football. So because in season, you got football 24/7. Yeah, it's not like school where you have classes or some other things that take your mind off it. So you kind of get burnt out a little bit. So making sure you recharge fully. But every once in a while you get back to it.
Man. So what do you give yourself, like about a month or so, pretty much to kind of cool off of football for a little bit and recover?
Yeah, just about. I would give, every year it changes depending on like how the season was. This one's a little longer season going to the NFC Championship. So you want to make sure you give that full month. Maybe for, you're off in January, give it about 2 weeks. And then the next like couple of weeks you start doing what I like to do is I'll start doing body weight stuff, do a lot of body weight lifts that way, like a lot more push-ups and all that, air squats, get all the knees good. So you can start getting the motions of what you need to do for workouts. And then I'll start lifting after that. And then technique stuff, I try to do those whenever I'm with like guys. So sometimes if I'm traveling, like there's a NFLPA event in Phoenix. So when I go down there, I know some of my buddies that are down there, go train with them a little bit in March. And so that way it's a lot easier to do technique stuff when you're with a group of guys that, work that technique with you. That's one of the harder things of the off season, especially living like where not too many people like in the NFL are at, in North Dakota, like you don't have as many guys to train with. So it's harder if it's not like guys that know what you're doing, know the techniques you're using and stuff like that to be able to push you and get you the right. But every once in a while I'll do travel like mid off season to make sure I go get like at least a couple weeks in with some of the guys. So
that's a beautiful area up there, man. North Dakota.
Yeah. What brought you out to North Dakota, man?
So my sisters play softball up there and then stayed and had kids because I grew up in San Diego. I'm San Diego native all the way. But when they had grandkids and stuff. And once I finished at SDSU, my parents kind of didn't have they had their family friends and stuff, but they kind of wanted to go be with the grandkids. So that right after I finished the next year, they ended up moving up there. So like all my direct family's up there. So I like to go visit them, see the nephews. They're starting to get to that age where it's a lot of fun to hang out with. But eventually I'll move somewhere else and get something else. But up there, it's not too bad. I love it. I go walleye fishing all the time with my brother-in-law and his dad, and that's a lot of fun. So I mean,
cool, man. Yeah, your parents bailed out and went to go be with the grandkids, huh?
Yeah, they had to. They got.
I don't blame them, man. I don't blame
over everything, no matter what. But we still love San Diego. I'm pretty sure my parents still got like a timeshare down there, so we visit a good amount. So I always like to come back.
Oh yeah, cool, man, cool.
Do you have like maybe a brief story about Valley Center? Going to your high school days down there and an experience, or just what that football culture brought out of you?
Yeah, I mean, I love Valley Center. Coach Gilster's still there, head coach. He taught me a lot about football, and then also Randy Cowell was our strength coach and defense coordinator. And those two guys taught me so much and got me to where I'm at, I think, because just the life lessons that they've taught, and then the to persevere and like hard work they taught you and instilled in you up there, that got us going. And we were like, that small town. I think we were like Division IV at the time. And when I was there, there was chances for us to get to that state championship, but to be state champ, you had to be technically D3. So we actually had to go play teams out of city, from like either the greater Los Angeles area or Palm Springs. So I think we played like La Quinta and Los Alamitos at the time. They were big D1s. And to get us to have a chance at state, and we ended up beating them, and then we just lost it to Madison in the CIF. But the next year we had to go down and play Madison in a playoff game of CIF, and we didn't play those big teams the year before. So then technically we couldn't take that state spot from the D3 team, but it was nice to get payback for Madison. And it came down to, we were up and it came down to a 4th and 1, and we had to get a QB sneak. And I remember we were just going up to coach and we were like, we got this. And then we ended up getting it and then going to CIF and win the CIF game in Santee. But that was probably the best moment. Coach believed in us. We all believed in each other. We had a bunch of seniors that, were pissed off from the year before because we had a chance to go to state. Yeah. And then, so we wanted it bad. And so then we ended up going and getting back at Madison and then winning the CIF game. So that was a lot of fun.
Nice.
I love high school ball, man. The older I get, I really appreciate high school ball, and especially with the coaches, what they do, what they mean to guys like yourself. Looking back on your journey, and it's been a journey, man. Your days were not always like this. They were not always, in the league, consumed by the huge NFL worldwide game that we all love. So, going from Valley Center, and we'll get to state, but I want to talk to you a little bit about the Alliance, man, about the fleet, because that was an amazing experience. I have to assume for that 1 year. And there were a lot of Aztecs on that roster. I know even Azakim was the wide receiver coach. So there was a lot of San Diego ties, the way they had that league structured and the team structured. So, I mean, what was that experience like, man, being on the fleet?
I mean, that was actually a pretty cool experience. When I had left Atlanta, they actually offered me a futures to come back, and I just felt like I was kind of just seen as a practice squad player, and I thought I could have the chance to be on the active roster, and I really wanted to try to get that chance. And so when I chose not to sign, I knew the AAF teams, that league was starting, and so I didn't get too many calls from the NFL teams to try to sign a futures with somebody else. I think the Lions called, and I did not really a workout, but met with their scouts, flew out to Detroit, did a physical, but they didn't really want to sign me. But then the AAF teams kept calling, and so I was like, this could be a great experience to get some film, get a chance, go against. And I thought one of the best things about that league was, at first you kind of think it's, it's just like a back, like it's, you know, it's not going to be a good league. There's not going to be good players. But to be honest, there were like almost every guy on that team had been on an NFL roster, whether it was camp, whether it was active, whether, you know, just preseason. So a lot of guys played at least preseason ball. And then now they're also fighting for jobs and get good tape out there to get, you know, more teams to look at them. So I'd say it was similar to an NFL preseason game caliber, maybe a little bit better because, you know, I mean, those guys are fighting for team score, like, you know, but it's basically the third and fourth quarter where those guys are literally fighting for jobs, except they know the offense way better because they've actually been with this team a lot longer to practice it. So I think it's better football than preseason NFL with the same caliber. Because like a lot of those guys, remember like DeMonte Moore, he was a 3rd-round pick that had been with an NFL team like 3 years. I mean, Cam Kelly was from San Diego State. He was with a bunch, and then he ended up going straight to the Steelers and doing really well there, and had a little incident. And just that was he had a good chance there. There was, we had a bunch of guys, but Marcus Bodden went onto an NFL roster. Alex Barrett's, 49er. There's a bunch of guys that are on teams right now that are from the AAF. Greg Ward, I think he was from another team, but it was actually a really good league. And I thought, from what people thought it would be, it actually had some good football. And with those guys being able to practice, I think it's pretty much NFL preseason games, except the guys know the offense. They can actually do well out there. It won't be as many bad plays because of not knowing the scheme as much. So I think it's actually pretty good to football, and it should be like one of those leagues, if they can get off and going and maybe the NFL supports them, makes like a little minor league kind of thing. I think it'd be good football, especially in the springtime.
Yeah, it's too bad that league actually had, like you said, a lot going for it. From what I understand, the only reason it's not around anymore is the guy who bought it for like the betting technology they had. And he basically didn't care about the league. He just wanted that betting technology. And so that's why they kind of like shut everything down, because he didn't really care about it. He just wanted that technology they had for like doing live gambling on their app or something like that. And
I know that was the thing, and like we never understood, because we thought when they started it, they had enough money, and then it was going to be a league that was actually supposed to be around for a while. So like it started getting going, it was good, and then then apparently they didn't have enough investments, so then they got a new investor, and then we thought we were all good. So it was actually kind of a mess in that way, and that's one of the big things was like it wasn't as structured, it's hard to tell because we don't know all that, and so being a new league, we couldn't tell like who was part of who, but we thought it was all good. It was definitely going to be a fun thing. And then it actually ended really quickly. Like all of a sudden we were in meetings, and then guys are looking on Twitter saying like, hey, they're saying the league's over, and then we're like, our coaches are like, no, we're good. And then head coach goes on a call, and then everybody's just kind of standing around for a little bit, like we're waiting to go out to practice, and all of a sudden they come back and be like, hey, no. And I know some teams were practicing when they found out. Yeah, so it was just like it ended like abrupt. So and I don't know like exactly what all went into what, but it is sad that league ended, because it was going to be a good league, I think.
That was definitely going to be one of my big questions to you, man, because when that shut down, and you're right, this was a quality league. Mike Martz was your head coach, for crying out loud. Like, this is a legit, so when everything came crashing down, I'm reading reports that, like you said, guys are finding out on Twitter. What was going through your mind, and what was your emotional state then? Because you're left high and dry there in that moment, with like some guys had to fly home on their own dime.
Some players and coaches and employees were caught off guard. Fans who arrived here at the ticket office at SDSU Sioux Stadium were greeted with a sign saying fleet offices were closed for the rest of the day, and it looks like this closure may now be permanent. The empty practice fields at the outskirts of the parking lot were supposed to be filled with dozens of players getting ready for a game at the league-leading Orlando Apollos this weekend. Instead, players and employees received a brief email saying they would be paid through tomorrow and then would be out of a job. Local players
had to fly home on their own dime.
Some guys had to fly right there and there, like get out of the hotel, and then like different teams. It was all different circumstances. But yeah, it was kind of like madness. We were all like, what the hell is going on? Like what did he like? And it's like, I remember like the equipment guys went and locked the room because they were told not to give out anything so like, everybody's just like, what the hell? Like we were all just kind of stunned, just trying to figure out like, okay, well, what's, and then like technically you weren't supposed to sign with an NFL team. So then everybody was trying to figure that out. And I think they came out with that like either a day or two later, like, oh, since all like the league's over, so you can open to sign with teams. And then right after that, a bunch of guys were signing. So that was kind of weird because when that happened, I didn't know, like no NFL teams called right away for me. So it actually took like a week or something. So I was just hanging out in San Diego from being San Diego. And then because my parents were planning on coming down to one of our like last home games or something. So I was just like, okay, I'm gonna hang out for 2 weeks till they come down, and then I'll go get my stuff and I'll probably head out. But so I got a place for a little bit, and then like the weekend before my parents were supposed to be there, that Wednesday, finally the Niners gave me a call and said, hey, we want you to come work out. I was like, all right. And so I had like 2 days or whatever to like kind of get like back into shape, because now I haven't done anything for a week because I thought the league was over. And I was actually getting ready to be like done with football almost, just because I had no idea what I'm doing. Like everything kind of just ended quick, and then I wasn't getting any calls from teams.
Yeah. This super special Daniel Brunskill episode of the Sons of Montezuma Podcast is sponsored by Network Realty. If you're like me and are a homeowner in San Diego, you know that navigating the real estate market is not an easy task. I can personally say that Network Realty has helped me along the way. With over 20 years of real estate experience in and around San Diego County, Network Realty can guide you in real estate sales and property management. Being alumni and proud supporters of San Diego State, give Network Realty a call today at 619-857-0079. That's 619-857-0079. And let them know you heard about them from the Sons of Montezuma Podcast. Now back to the show.
Just ended quick, and then I wasn't getting any calls from teams.
Yeah.
And so then when the Niners called, I was just like, oh crap. So I'm just like on the beach trying to run, trying to get back into shape a little bit. I'm already really light. So like, I'm just like thinking like, dang. And I remember when I weighed in, I was like only like 280 something. I was just like, oh, this ain't good. Because I was trying to eat as much as I could and then also get in shape. So it was just bad combo. And then I went and did the workout, and I got a good workout, but it was just like I was dying because like, it was just a lot after taking like a week off of that. And then I thought they were actually taking me back up to get my flight info because they didn't really say anything after. And it was just the O-line coaches and then the scouts out there. And so then I didn't know if I was getting signed or not. So like they were just like, all right, we'll just head back in, get your info. And then like we get up to the scouts or one of the guy's office, and then he ended up saying, yeah, we're going to sign you right now. I was like, oh, sweet. Like now I got a job, like I got something to do. And then then I was like, okay, sweet. And then I was like, well, crap, like, am I just staying here? My stuff's back there. Like, I was like, oh shoot. Like I got my parents are coming in that weekend. So it actually worked out perfect. They flew me back to go get my stuff. And then I was able to stay that weekend because the next Monday, that's when OTA started. So technically, so I was able to actually be there with my parents that weekend that they were coming out anyways. And then that Sunday I flew out to be back for Monday OTA 1. So it was just like, it was a crazy turn of events right there. Going a couple weeks or like a week without like knowing exactly what you're going to do, a week and a half. And then all of a sudden you got a team, and then like next Monday you got to work.
Man,
it was wild.
Roller coaster.
Yeah, man. Going from, you know what, I might be done with this football thing to playing for an NFL team, man. That's crazy.
I mean, you could be honest. Were you really hanging out at Trujillo's, just eating burritos all day and like?
I mean, yeah, like I was just hanging out in San Diego. Like my buddy was working. He works at an off-road shop, Ivan Stewart Motorsports. Like I would go over there and hang out with him because most people are work, like all my buddies. And I'm older than like the college kids now, so I'm not like hanging out too much. I go over to San Diego State to hang out with Schmitty, the O-line coach. We would go hang out over there. Like that's pretty much all I was doing.
Truth be told, I actually reached out to Schmitty, hit him up this past couple days out there in Syracuse because he's now the offensive line in Syracuse. I said, man, what do you got to say about Daniel? And he had nothing but good things to say. He said, you're a go-getter, self-motivated guy. And he said between that gap, you were actually considering coming back as a GA or just mulling over different possibilities that, were open to you. Is that something, and especially now being with the Niners and seeing that complex run scheme, I mean, is coaching maybe something you've thought about for your future after football?
Yeah, no, I'd definitely say coaching probably. I got my degree in civil engineering, so I have that. It's a good degree, but I've just been out of school for so long that, it's going to be hard to go, especially now. But at that time, it was either that, it was civil engineering, or get a job coaching. So I was thinking about it because like really had no idea. So that was definitely one thing I was maybe thinking of, just to kind of get something going and have something ready at least, so I'm not just sitting doing nothing.
Okay. All right. All right, so let's talk a little bit of Aztecs football now. So your journey going from Valley Center, and I mean, were you recruited by what schools? I mean, because obviously you were a walk-on at State and a red shirt in your first year. So you came in as a tight end or an offensive lineman, and did you switch to tight end from high school?
Came in as O-line pretty much because BC, we were small. So like pretty much we were O-linemen over there, O-line, D-line. And then he's like, we did not have anybody that was big. So like we had tall, lanky kids who were on your O-line, or big, short, little fatter kids where like your O-line. That's about it. I was the tall, lanky guy in there. So I didn't weigh much at all. And that's why I switched to tight end when I went to San Diego State, was because they wanted me to play, and they think I could block really well. But like, I just didn't have that weight to be an O-lineman. So that's why they wanted me at tight end. Cal Poly San Luis Obispo was the only school that really was talking to me, but I still didn't get an offer or scholarship or anything. But I was thinking about going there. And since their engineering program was impacted, I was going to do ag business. And then it wasn't until like right before spring ball, Coach Sipe actually called me and said, hey, we want you to walk on here. And I was like, oh, I didn't apply to San Diego State. He's like, well, we can make sure, like something happens if you want to come here. But come out to the spring ball practice and we'll see. So I came out there, I watched spring ball practice. And then he's like, all right, come up to the offices and I'll show you around a little bit. So I went up there, I got to meet Coach Long. And then they didn't have I think Schmitty wasn't the O-line coach at the time, because I think they just got a new one, or the old O-line coach went somewhere else, and they basically just hired him. But at the time, I don't think the O-line coach had left. So he wasn't there at the time, like either out. And so I didn't get to meet the O-line coach, but I got to meet some of the other coaches. So it was pretty cool. But I was like, I mean, this is an awesome school. And then we sat down and was like, okay, well, what major do you want? I was like, if I can do civil engineering, I'm going to go to San Diego State. And so as soon as they got me in and I was doing civil engineering, that was why I chose State, and ended up working out pretty well. So, hey
man, a lot of credit to Ryan Sipe, the Aztecs legend. He actually made an appearance to one of our watch parties back in 2018 or something like that, around the Mission Valley vote. Really good, really good guy, man. Really
great
good
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
a
awesome.
lot of sight. Got me in the right place.
So you made the switch to tight end, and I got to say, man, every time you scored a touchdown, like, bad things would happen, Daniel Brunskill. You scored your first touchdown against Boise, and we ended up losing. And then we were there in Berkeley. You scored the first touchdown of the game, 30-yard pass right over the middle, and that was it for the rest of the game.
Oh, yeah. Hey, but my touchdown versus Wyoming, we won that game, so it wasn't all bad.
So I'm glad you made that switch to the offensive lineman, and that was for your senior year. So, I mean, that's a big jump. It seemed like it was out of necessity, or, you tell me, because we potentially had, obviously, Donnell Pumphrey, the Heisman candidate, and then you got Rashaad Penny right there. I mean, a 2,000-yard rusher and a 1,000-yard rusher in the same season. That's a lot of pressure making that move. I know it's just one spot over, technically, tight end, the tackle. But what was it like blocking for those guys, man?
I mean, those guys are great backs. I love those guys. They were just amazing for us, and what they did, they revolutionized our run game, and have them both, and to be able to go at it with them, they were sweet. Just great guys to have around in the locker room. I think the biggest transition was actually the pass blocking, like the run blocking and stuff. That was fine because I'm used to doing that at tight end. In tight end, you do a little bit of pass blocking, but being a right tackle in college football, that was kind of the harder thing for me. So then that I think that was one of the biggest things to kind of adjust to. So I that was one of my harder things to get down. But yeah, switching inside for run blocking, that part was easy. It was nice. And then it was actually me and David got to do, some tight end O-line blocks together. So that was cool to do that, because we had, been in a room together. So we're used to working with each other. So it was actually not too bad.
Okay. So tell me, it seems like you have a really good memory on plays. I mean, you're going back to your high school days. So is there, aside from the record-breaking Donnell Pumphrey run in the Las Vegas Bowl, are there any other plays that really you remember vividly?
I remember there's a game, the Utah State one, when it was raining. That was a lot of fun. We were running the ball really well. We ended up doing really good that game. I remember we were going up to Schmitty and we were like, hey, I mean, these linebackers are playing over our outside run, like zone run, way too fast. And so we kind of like drew up a play on the sideline, and it was one of those toss actions, but then we were basically cutting all the way back. And it was sweet because, I was the backside tackle, and we go and I'm running to try to get those, backside guys, and they're trying to run and beat me over the top. And they ended up going way farther. Even the safety went over top, and Donnell cut it right back and took it to the house. And that was sweet just to, like we're talking about it on the sideline, adjust and then come back. And then the first time we run the play, we take it to the house pretty much. It was just that was really cool.
What about
drawing it up like on the chalkboard?
Yeah.
Drawing it in the dirt on the sidelines.
Yeah, that's the best. Those are the best ones. That's when you're having fun.
What about game? Is there a most memorable game, perhaps?
Game, I would say the one where we won the championship. I mean, both were good. When we won the championship at home versus Air Force, that was a tight game. Yeah. So that one was really cool. And those tight games always feel like really amazing. The other one I would say is the Wyoming one. That one was special, senior year in Wyoming. I mean, we screwed up the week before, because we lost to them. So that's why we had to go out and play to Wyoming. And so then that was cool to be able to go there and actually, get it at their place. After we just had played them not that long before that. So
that first game was crazy. That first game was crazy.
The one where we caught, then we catch the Quest caught the Hail Mary.
Yeah, I remember that.
I think we missed the going for two. So.
Yeah. That was the one Josh Allen went crazy, like completing insane passes to help them win that game.
that record-breaking run by Donnell Pumphrey, I don't think people understand how integral, how important you, Daniel Brunskill, were on those plays. That first touchdown in that Las Vegas Bowl, we were going crazy because he kind of just squirted through the line and he was in the clear. But I was studying that play. I was looking at that play, and you basically sealed off the defender. I think it was a safety or something. And it opened up like this perfect tunnel where he just kind of squirted through to the end zone. And you're running after him in the end zone. Just congratulate him.
Hell yeah.
But in the record-breaking run, you and David Wells had like a cross, like you popped off outside of the right edge. Wells came inside, kind of sealed that defender, that defensive lineman. And then you popped off. Pumphrey followed behind you. I mean, is that a play that you vividly remember, that record-breaking play?
A little bit.
Or is it all a blur? Or
It starts blurring up a little bit, but I do remember some of it, some of that game. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, no, I couldn't tell you like word for word. Some of it blurs up now.
you took that edge defender and put him on his back, Daniel Brunskill.
Yeah.
1 to go. Needs 11 yards to pass Rondane. Here we go. The toss to him. Can he get the edge? Gonna try it. He's got it. Record time. Donnell Pumphrey smashes the record.
Yeah.
And Pumphrey was able to kind of dance around the edge, got the record.
That's all you need right there. Donnell, give him a little space. He's gone.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let me ask you some quick reaction questions. When I read this name, this Aztec teammate name to you, what's the first word that you think of when I say their name? Nico Siragusa.
Goose. big Goose. He's funny as hell, yeah.
DeMonte Casey.
Man, he's a jokester too. He's always telling jokes. I would just say jokester.
All right. David Wells.
I'm gonna go with. I mean, that's just clean cut. I mean, he's just your clean cut. Look good, like just suit guy. Just nice and professional. I see professional is probably the best word.
All right. Rashaad Penny.
Fast.
Okay. Then Donnell Pumphrey.
Quick. I mean, that man can juke. Elusive.
And what about Mike Schmidt, your old offensive line coach?
Mike Schmidt. I'm gonna go with. I mean, he was tough. He was tough at the right moments and got everybody on the right page. But I love Mike. He did a great job for us, and he taught us a lot. So it was kind of just the brotherhood thing. That was awesome having a former player Aztec too. I thought that made it big.
And it's kind of cool. He had like a similar story to yours, man. He was like a walk-on guy that turned into be a hell of a player. So
no doubt.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, he went to Madison, but you guys got them that second time. So
I know. I give him crap all the time about
it. and what about Rocky Long, man? What about Coach Rocky?
Defense. Great defense, man.
Defensive wizard. Yeah, man. Do you get a lot of opportunities to watch the current team, the Aztec guys?
I went to when they played San Jose up in San Jose. I got to watch that game. I watch every once in a while. It's tough sometimes the game times, like everybody says the West Coast games, that is tough to watch. So just because they're so late.
What are your thoughts about the two offensive linemen we got coming out, hopefully in the draft, Zach Thomas and Billy Dunkel?
Well, Zach was there when I was there. He's a good dude. He plays really hard. I think I wish the best for him, and I hope he does really well. I know he dealt with some injuries. But I think he can kind of like the pathway I did, where he's gonna it's gonna be a little tougher, but he's got a good chance. And the Billy Dunkel, I know he's a big kid. He's got a lot of good strength. I think he'd be a good guard in the league. So interesting to see that.
Well, man, we appreciate your time coming on the show, dude. Hopefully this isn't the last time. We have a little bit of policy for you. Do you have that box laying around? Do you have the box?
Yes, sir. I got it right here.
All right. So for coming on the show, we really appreciate it. We wanted to send you out a little gift, man. So go ahead and stab that thing open. We'll see what you got in the box.
Let's see.
What's in the box?
Okay. Hey, that's sweet.
Man.
Get me one of these.
A custom Sons of Montezuma
That right here.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, that's what I'm talking about.
You got to wear that out on the yacht, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, sport that out on the yacht today.
Hell yeah, appreciate you guys. Love it.
Nice.
Hey.
Looks good. Looks good.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, Daniel, we appreciate it, man. Like I said, you're welcome anytime, and all the best to you in the future with the 49ers. I think it's been great to see you perform out there, and we look forward to nothing but the best things in the future, man. You got to come back to Snapdragon Stadium, man. We didn't even ask you about that. Maybe next time.
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
we'll get that next time. Definitely talk about it. I definitely want to make a game there, but appreciate you guys for having me on.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, Dan.
See you
All right,
later,
y'all.
man.
See you guys.
Peace.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. Man, that
Ooh, man.
that was awesome, man. Daniel Brunskill, just a class act, just a really down-to-earth kid. You know, interacting with him back in those years at State, like the dude was just you could just tell he was just a cool kid back in those days. And to see him now as a grown man doing this thing, we're so proud, you know.
That's awesome, man. That's a guy who worked his butt off to get where he's at, man. He didn't get the easy road. He wasn't naturally gifted. He just worked his tail off, and man, it's so good to see him in the NFL. And like we talked about Aaron Donald, man, he was going one-on-one with Aaron Donald some plays, and he was putting in work. So that was super impressive, man. So
it's fun to see all those other videos really detailing his performance against Donnell, you know, and in that scheme, he really is like Daniel really is like the perfect offensive lineman for that run scheme, man. I'd love to see him further, you know, in coaching maybe down the road, you know, come back to State. Because that's a wealth of knowledge on that offense, man. So, hey.
Yeah, let's feature a line coach at SDSU, maybe. We'll see.
Hey, James, thanks for joining me, man. I hope you had a good time, man. This was really cool. Hey, you reached the end of the show. Congratulations. Felicidades. Omedeto. Now you just have two last things to do. Number one, make sure you subscribe to the Sons of Montezuma podcast on Spotify, the iHeart app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever podcasts are available. And number two, go to sonsofmontezuma.com/shop. There you will find all of our unique and custom merchandise from hats, clothing, drinkware, stickers, and even a book. Sons of Montezuma is an independent supporters community of San Diego State athletics, and in the new year, we are just getting started. So stay tuned to the show, the sonsofmontezuma.com website, and even our YouTube channel for more Aztecs football content. And lastly, big shout outs to Law Street Brewer on Twitter and Dr. Bree Knows on Instagram for correctly guessing that Daniel Brunskill was today's guest. Good job, you two. And of course, Daniel Brunskill's amazing theme song, performed and written by Planet California Band. You can find them on Instagram. This is Mateo San Diego signing off. Sonsofmontezuma.com. Go Aztecs.